Mentally Morbid.
This podcast represents the opinions of the speakers and guests to the show. By listening to this podcast or reading any content posted or shared by the Mentally Morbid creators, you agree not to use this podcast or blog as psychological advice. The content should not be used in lieu of medical or psychological advice or any legal capacity whatsoever, including but not limited to establishing standard of care. The content here is for entertainment and educational purposes only. No guarantee is given regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on the podcast or blog. Please consult healthcare professionals for any medical or psychological care.
Welcome back, Mentally Morbid listeners and viewers. It's episode 49, not 50, not yet. I'm Annie.
I'm Kayla.
I'm Kinsey.
Oh. She does not sound excited to be herself.
Everybody's so awake and alive.
I want to be someone else. We weren't even ready to start recording. Why the fuck did you press the button?
I'm going to be honest. I forgot lots of times today that it was Tuesday.
That's what happens when you don't go to work.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
I have been watching a lot of hummingbirds, though.
Oh, you live a very interesting life. Kayla is now a drug dealer to hummingbirds.
Yeah.
Tell them, but not killing them with the dye.
Tell them.
I will. So I have a hummingbird feeder now, and as soon as I put it up, there were two hummingbirds that were fighting over it, and so I texted DJ and I told him that there were hummingbirds fighting over my hummingbird food, and I felt like a drug lord. And I asked him, he said it's sugar water, and I said drug lord because they were fighting. And I was like, hummingbirds, they fly to Mexico for the winter. And I was like, do you think whenever they fly to Mexico, they'll tell their friends about me? And he said yes. So I'm going to have 45 feeders in my backyard next time you guys come. Because
I do enjoy watching them fight.
They're so chippy. They like chirp.
They're so sassy.
They are very sassy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like flying up to my face almost, like literally.
Yeah.
If I stood up, I would run into them. Yeah, they're flying up into my face like they got something to say.
Maybe they do.
They have little man syndrome.
That's an interesting thing for you to say.
I've always assumed
syndrome.
Assume that they feel like they're on coke all the time because their hearts beat so fast. So they don't know what's going on.
That's probably why they drank an entire feeder in 2 days. The whole thing's gone in 2 days between two hummingbirds.
Right. Well, they probably don't have any other options in town right now. Wait till the other women on your street start feeding them. Then see what happens.
I always get like I'm the strict parent when Kevin starts making too much hummingbird feed because we also make our own. And he'll come in and go, oh, the bird feeder's out. And I'm like, listen, we've already filled it up once this week. Like, we can't keep using this much sugar to feed the hummingbirds. They're just going to have to slow down. They can't eat this much.
As if sugar costs that much money.
It's expensive. They don't pay for it. They should get a job.
We throw out half of our sugar by the end of it anyway. Like, by the time it gets to the bottom, it's all clumpy anyway. They might as well have their drugs.
Annie is so mean. Kevin's also in charge of the thing. Kevin also takes care of the cats.
Yes, Kevin does take care of the cats. And I told him that if those cats stick around, if we can't find where to put them, they're going to have to go to a cheaper cat food. Meanwhile, he's still
those kittens are still there?
Yes, they're still there.
Did you hear
For one,
about
they're
someone
just now
taking them?
Right. Because
to be fair, she hasn't given us any updates on the kittens in a while.
That means there are no updates.
There is no update.
That's it.
It's hard to give an update when there's nothing to update. They're here. That's it.
I want a daily text that says, kittens still here.
Okay, here's your daily update. Kevin's way too attached.
No.
Oh, we knew this was going to happen.
Annie, this is not fair. This is exactly how Kevin got an Annie. This is exactly what happened. He got too fucking attached to the stray he found at the Home Depot, and he was like, okay, I guess I keep it.
The Home Depot.
That's not untrue.
Yeah. It's
okay,
not.
what happened today? Tell me.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you said daily update.
That was it. That Kevin's too attached.
Kevin's too attached. Yeah.
Listen, he comes in and he'll tell me what they did. Which, when I go down there, you know what they do? And they run into a corner. And I do love on them because I do love animals. I'm just also very practical right now and have just spent thousands of dollars for the other animals in my house. So that right now I'm ultra practical about these stray cats coming in.
Do you know how much I'm going to have to spend on getting Alice her teeth cleaned?
It's very expensive because my parents have done quoted for their dogs.
But like, it's so important for them to have clean teeth because that like, if they get old and their teeth are falling out, then they can't eat, and if they can't eat, they die earlier.
Yep.
Well, I mean, there is soft food, but
I currently have a spray, so I have to grab them all by their little scruffs, and I gotta go. They love it, obviously. They're all a big fan.
Wait, what is the spray? What's the spray do?
I'm also curious.
It's like our
Tartar?
version of mouthwash, basically. So there's one that you can put in their water, and then the spray that goes directly in their mouth. And it is the only thing that's ever helped with Cricket's bad breath. So I'm actually a big fan. She doesn't like it.
Honestly, I don't care about the breath. I care about the teeth. Like, I need to make sure that this doesn't build up tartar.
But bad breath is a sign of bad teeth.
Yeah, I know. I'll put that on my list of things to do tomorrow is call the freaking vet.
You're really not making
Did y'all know that Aurora's front teeth were actually shaved down from tennis balls?
I'm not surprised.
We were curious for a long time, and we just
You're
kind of
talking about animals on crack. It's Aurora.
Oh, and she's getting so healthy now. Yeah, her front teeth are flat. Like what are they called? Are the canines? Is that what those are? Yeah. Hers are flat. They have no, and it's because of tennis balls.
Well, she plays with tennis balls like... I'm convinced she plays with tennis balls 23/7 and sleeps for 1.
I was reading something the other day that said that dogs are supposed to sleep like 16 hours a day, and I don't think Aurora does that. I haven't seen that.
Cats sleep 18, right? I think it's 18.
It's a lot. I thought it was 20, honestly. It's a lot.
Listen, I'm not even getting the correct amount of sleep. So I don't really care what their amount of sleep is.
That is true.
That's
fair.
Is true. That's fair.
What do y'all get? What's y'all's normal amount of sleep?
So...
You don't want me to answer that. I have been depressed for 7 years. What do you want from me?
If I go to bed at 10:30, I naturally wake up at 7:30. So what's that?
8.5.
12:30. Yeah,
9.
like
9.
That's how much I should be getting because that's how much I naturally.
Okay.
But I go to bed at 10:30 and then I read until like 11 or 11:30. So I'm down to 7.5 to 6.5 hours. And then I also wake up at 6:30. So like 5.5, 6 hours. That's not good.
Yeah.
Okay, hearing you say that out loud makes me feel so much better because there was a long period this summer where I was like, am I that lazy? Because I stay up later than them, but not by enough for the amount of time they're awake before I get up. And I was like, is there something wrong with me? Am I that lazy?
Oh, you thought you were lazy because you were sleeping longer than we were, like later.
Like significantly longer, but now I understand because Kinsey's not doing 5.5 hours of sleep. That's not happening for her. So I was like, the math's not mathing. Even if I stay up an hour later than you guys, you're up for 3 before I am. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, no, we just don't get enough sleep. That's all.
Makes sense.
I think that we were getting 8 hours. Kinsey, I text you guys until 11 sometimes, and I'm up at 4:30. How do you not do that math?
I really was like, what is wrong with me? But it's just I need a full night's sleep, man.
There's a lot, but we're not talking about that right now.
No, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I would love to sleep for 8 hours. But the amount of work that I have to do in order for me to be ready for the next day takes me until about 10:30 at night. And then I have to wind down, and that's a whole nother hour. So
that's my problem.
It's not that I can't go to bed. It's that I'm not ready yet.
That is my problem. It takes me a good hour and a half to fall asleep after I'm getting ready for bed. I have a hard time forcing myself to go to sleep, and that's when I know things are really bad in my life, when I lay down and I fall asleep immediately. That's when I'm like, something here is wrong.
I gotta take my little melatonin, and then I gotta read all of my smut, and then I can maybe go to sleep, maybe. Depending on if I, if the melatonin kicks in.
Yeah, no. I spent a good amount of time this summer getting my solid 9 hours of sleep, and I was like, damn. I'm just sleeping too much, I guess. Everyone else be awake all the time.
I don't see, my issue is once after 7:30, I feel very lazy if I'm still in bed. So even if I go to bed super late, I'm up at like 7. Like I am awake at 7:30. There is no sleeping past 7:30 for me.
I can sleep past 7:30, but if I the older I get, the more that triggers a migraine. So like if I'm up, if I'm awake, I have to get up, because if I don't get up, I get a headache, and then I'm in bed for the rest of the day.
But people who sleep in but do, because like I'll talk to teenagers sometimes, and they'll say that their parents are like, well, you need to get up, at 7 or 8, even if it's the summer. And I'll say, but what time are you going to sleep? And so I'll do psychoeducation with the parents sometimes. I'm like, okay, let's calculate out how many hours they need, which is somewhere between 8 and 10, depending on where they are in their teenage years. And it's like, okay, well, if they go to bed at 12, which you're fine with, right? Because it's the summer, so you don't care what time they go to bed, and they're waking up at 8, 9, 10 o'clock, that's not lazy. That's getting a good amount of sleep.
Right.
But they think it's lazy because they're sleeping in a late time.
Right.
Yeah, my dad used to get onto me for that. Like during the summer, he would be like, you need to get up. And I'm like, I was literally awake watching George Lopez at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to need you to lay off.
Man,
I always hated when that came on. I didn't like that show.
It's so loud. I loved that show. I actually went to see a movie this weekend primarily because George Lopez was in it.
Hey, go on.
Oh, Blue Beetle. You would like. I enjoyed it.
I don't love the name. I don't understand why he's called obviously I don't understand why he's called the Blue Beetle.
If you watch the movie
that he's called the Blue Beetle,
you would understand. I will say, for a DC movie, which is
scarab.
It is a scarab.
Right. Why not call him the Blue Scarab? That sounds much more badass than the Blue Beetle.
People don't know how to pronounce or spell that word. How would they call him that?
Scarab.
We said like 80 times. Just a scarab. It literally is spelled how it looks.
Listen, for a DC movie, it was pretty good. I don't really love DC. We didn't know it was DC until we sat down and it said DC, so we were surprised.
That's because after you love DC, then they changed DC. Go ahead, Carla.
There's been so many. That's a really good point.
Back to sleeping.
This is a great example.
No, I was just gonna say, I had a moment when I was with my other friends, and we were literally awake and cleaning the house. Like, we were doing our thing by 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, all of us were awake and ready, had our coffee, like, we're on the go at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I, looked around. For everybody who doesn't know, in my other group of friends, quarterly, we have decided to go to each other's houses and either do a major project or clean each other, deep clean each other's houses. So the last time we were doing it at another friend's house.
Kinsey, that's not going to be us, Kinsey. Just shut up.
She never explained that to us either, listeners, just so you know.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what's been going on.
Doesn't know, which is everybody.
She doesn't need a permission slip from us.
No, it's the way she said it. For everyone that doesn't know, AKA everybody.
So anyway, I looked around the house at all of the people that I went to college with, and I was like, damn, we really slept until 2 p.m. in college. Like, this was impossible in our early 20s. Because I definitely needed probably 10 to 11 hours of sleep back then.
I did too. So wait,
it was bad.
Quarterly, you guys are doing a project or cleaning?
Yeah, so me, Mal, Sarah, and Erica are all rotating. I went first, so they came and helped me do DJ's room in a weekend, which was a complete remodel of DJ's game room. Then Then it was Mal's turn, and so we all went to Mal's house, and we did a deep clean of her house because she does not own that house. So we can't do like any major projects, but we can deep clean it. And then, so the next project is Erica. She lives with her parents, and so we're going to go to Erica's house and help her and her parents clean out their garage. It's just like major projects that like you just keep putting off and like over time, and you're like, this is a project that I really want done, but I can't do it alone, and like being able to like get with friends and do the project together actually really helps. So especially something like you really don't want to do, like cleaning out a garage, like that would suck to do by yourself. So, or like deep cleaning your house, that would happen over the course of several weekends, because we literally were washing her walls, just like vinegar and water, just like completely cleansing it. The energy was different in there after we were done. It felt better. Not to say that her house was dirty. It's just like when you clean that hard on someone's house, you just feel cleansed from the inside out, I guess. Felt cleansing.
Jesus. The energy.
It really did feel lighter. Like the energy was...
That's cool though. That's a cool habit.
Sounds fun. That's what I have an Ashley for.
To clean your house?
To help me get stuff done when my brain goes in overdrive. But yeah, sure. To clean my house. Ashley's really good at thinking about things in a more logical fashion than I am, so she helps me make my life better. We've worked on several projects on Kinsey over the last few years. I now own my own jewelry stand and case, so my necklaces don't just get tangled in the drawer. I also have better packing habits, and we've cleaned out my closet. It's been wonderful.
That's really nice.
I'm growing because she organized.
I have the opposite. I have a Kevin. No, that's what Kevin does for me. Kevin's the one who does the stuff.
Right. I just like, my brain doesn't work like that. So sometimes I need someone to just be like, fix this. Make this better. If someone, like, Ashley organized my Tupperware when I moved into this house, and she said it wasn't going to stay like that. But no, ma'am, it is going to stay like that. That Tupperware will not move until we move out. I will put it exactly back where you found it, because now that it looks nice, it's staying like that. But I don't know how to do that by myself in the first place.
That's fair. No, that the organization side is hard. That's what I keep because you guys know I put a new like cabinet system in, or I don't know what to call it. It's like a shelf, but not a shelf because it also has drawers. I don't know. It's a thing. An armoire. I put a kitchen armoire. Yeah, the kitchen version.
And the scarab armoire.
Yes. And I think like 4 days later, I was still like moving stuff around on the shelves because I'm like, this is not working here. Like you have to have the flow. Like, you know, the triangle that which I saw TikTok said that the triangle is outdated, by the way, the kitchen triangle. That's what it is. Like you got to get the stuff that you're going to use very often in like that short distance. But anyways, so I feel like that's kind of what organization is learning like what works, like what you're going to take out and where you're going to
but also
really bury the other stuff.
Like between that friend group, like we have, like we call it Team Sunshine and Team Rain. Guess which one I'm part of?
No.
Rain.
Yeah. So
for sure.
Team Sunshine is Mel and Erica, and they have like positive attitudes about pretty much anything, and they are very calm whenever they're frustrated. Me and Sarah are Team Rain. So we get frustrated easily, and we don't mind yelling at each other because we know that it's not the other person. We're just yelling just to yell. And so me and Sarah work very well together because our brains work similarly in like the organization / cleaning part. And then Mal and Erica are really good at working together on like really frustrating things. Like, for example, DJ's fan, whenever we were remodeling his room, his fan would not come out of the fucking wall, and me and Sarah were done with it. And Mal and Erica took over, and it's up and it's done. But anyway, get you some friends, Annie.
My issue is that I have a house that if I renovate something, because when what you call a full reno in my house would look very different. It would have to tear down walls. So your full reno is like starting with what's there and like building on top of it and changing things out, right?
I said remodel. Yours is a renovation.
Yeah, that's the difference. Is mine involves like sheetrock, which is fine. But I also don't have that like need that you guys do to like get it done then. Like it's just is. And I'm fine with that.
I think the people in my life would prefer if I felt like that.
Like, I think I've just learned to be okay with doing it slow to fit like financial and like the physical timeline of things. So like I just learned to be more patient because we are literally having to tear apart the ceiling.
Yeah.
So it's different.
No, I literally had to like talk myself off of a ledge today because I've been drawing squares all over my bedroom to prepare for judges paneling, and today I was like, I need to go to Home Depot and Lowe's. I need to go price these things out. And knowing myself, I would come back home with like just stacks of wood, wall molding, ready to go. And I can't do that right now. So I'm proud of me.
I'm proud of you too. I am literally dying. And instead of relaxing and taking care of myself today, I worked on this gallery wall in my house. I have some new pictures. I also have some pictures in the kitchen. Why? I don't know. Why can I not relax? I don't know. Why, when Gus came over to bring me a COVID test because I'm that sick, was I decorating my house? I don't know.
Kinsey, you don't sound very sick.
I honestly feel like you have the same thing that I had, which was like, it's a cold that you're very tired. And it's all here and it's in the throat, but it's not bad enough to call out of work, but you feel miserable with whatever you do. So you lay down and you feel like you have enough energy to get up. Then you get up and you're like, I'm sick.
I didn't go to the gym, but I'm not going to call out of work. But my throat literally feels like it's boiling. The amount of nasal drainage I have.
Then I'm ready for you to talk for 40 minutes.
Right. I've literally bought 5 new medicines in 2 days because I don't know what's wrong. I took a COVID test. It's fine. I was like, should I take a strep test? Like, I have energy.
Do they have at-home strep test?
No, they don't. And why is that?
I'm assuming because you have to scrape the back of your throat. Well, no, COVID tests, you have to scrape the inside of your brain, so.
No, not anymore. Just the top of your nose.
Oh. Kinsey's been doing it wrong.
So?
I mean, I feel like death.
Okay, but you don't really need a strep test.
I feel like mild death.
I feel like with a strep test, all you gotta do is open your mouth, look in the mirror, and if there's white things on the back of your throat all of a sudden, like there's strep and then there's sore throat. Strep, you are dying.
Strep is not fun.
Yeah, Kayla, you tell us. You've had it 18 times.
So here's my problem: is last time I had strep,
not fun.
Did not have the white things. So,
is that even possible? Did you do an at-home strep test?
Yes, I made it up myself. Yeah, I went to the fucking doctor and she said, "Bitch, you have strep."
It's like the immunity shot.
No,
you're getting your stuff from Harry Potter now.
This is the same.
What's it called? Streptococcal meningitis.
This is the same shit. When I had strep, I was like in between classes, and I went and I was like, "I'm sick. Can you give me something?" And they were like, "You have strep. You have to go home." And I was like, "I can't go home. I have to go back to class. I'm just insane. I can't relax." COVID's the last thing that really took me down.
Okay. So I'm really happy that your throat hurts because now it's your turn to tell a story.
Right. You did offer to cancel, and I said no because that would have given me more anxiety.
We gave you lots of openings to cancel.
Your anxiety is not my problem. Tell me a story.
I literally couldn't just sit there and like, be okay enough to be awake and not do our podcast.
We've canceled for less.
No, that time I had a headache. I didn't like that. So, my sources this week. Wikipedia, twice, 2 different pages.
Oh.
You're welcome. Newsweek.
Do we have to say that?
Yeah, I said ×2. Newsweek, helpguide.org, and the Mayo Clinic. Shout out.
Mayo.
We love the Mayo.
So we're going to start in Middletown Township, New Jersey, in Middletown High School South, which is far too many words. Melony Lynn Slate was enrolled.
Annie already has a question.
Middletown Township, New Jersey. The town is called Middletown Township.
According to Wikipedia ×2.
I want to go here. Go ahead.
So Melony Lynn Slate was enrolled there. And then later at Rutgers University with a double major in math and psychology, which sounds awful, and graduated in 1994. Who majors in math. She graduated second in her class and then magically was in the Charles E. Gregory School of Nursing. I don't know. Wikipedia didn't give me much information from that.
Math, psychology, nursing.
Yes. And in 1997, she got her nursing diploma. So who knows?
That tracks.
The only thing we're missing is a history degree.
Right.
Oh.
She doesn't know what she wants to do with her life. So then she marries United States Navy veteran William T. McGuire, who goes by Bill, in 1999.
Billy McGuire?
Yeah, Bill McGuire. Much more serious.
Oh, you're right. That is more serious. Bill.
By April 2004, the McGuires had been married for 5 years. As we know math, she is a math major, so and she was a nurse at a fertility clinic, and he was a computer programmer. They had 2 sons and now live in Woodbridge Township, New Jersey. Not to be confused with Middletown Township, New Jersey.
2 words? 4 words?
It's a lot of names for a town. It's a lot of words.
It feels like it has something to do with Plymouth Rock. I don't know.
So they lived in an apartment, and they had planned to move to a house later that month in Warren County. They closed the documents on their new house on April 28th, but they never moved in. So during this time, they didn't move into their house. Her husband goes missing. 2 days after he goes missing, she files a restraining order against him because she said that he was moody and unpredictable and a compulsive gambler. And 3 weeks...
So he disappears and then she puts a restraining order on him? His missingness?
Yes. And then 3 weeks
and
after...
not a missing persons report.
3 weeks after he disappeared, she filed for divorce.
Don't come back.
And not a missing persons request.
Oh my God. Okay.
She just goes about her fucking life. She's like, don't come back. Don't go for the kids. You got a lot going on. So he goes missing on April 28th. I'm sorry, on April 27th, because they were supposed to close on their new house on April 28th. On May 5th, 2004, 2 fishermen and 2 children found a mysterious suitcase floating near the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. And they opened it, and it contained a set of human legs.
No.
Oh. That's not where I thought that was going to go. I thought we were going to go there. Then you said suitcase, and I was like, no, not person. Then
just
say
legs? Just legs.
Just legs. On May 5th. On May 11th, a second larger suitcase was found on the beach of Fisherman Island National Wild Refuge by a graduate student who was cleaning up litter on the beach. This suitcase had a head, a torso with 3 bullet wounds, 2 in the chest and 1 in the head. And then...
I wonder who did it.
On May 16th...
She had a restraining order.
She had a restraining order, Kayla.
Oh, right.
You couldn't come by her. Yeah.
Right.
Then, on May 16th, so 11 days later, after the first suitcase was found, a third small suitcase containing arms was found floating in the water near the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. Police released a facial reconstruction sketch of the victim at that time, and an acquaintance of Bill McGuire's recognized him. And Melony then became the prime suspect in the investigation. But because the murder did not occur in Virginia, however, authorities turned their investigation over to the New Jersey police.
Okay.
So during the investigation, there was a lot of incriminating evidence that came out, as is expected when someone kills their husband. On April 26th, which is the day before he disappeared, she had purchased a handgun in Pennsylvania, actually. So
she wasn't even trying to hide this.
Apparently, those are all connected. Who knew? The same caliber handgun that killed her husband. Surprise, surprise. The receipt also had an unspecified purchase of $9.95. There were only 2 items in the store for that amount, and surprise, surprise, one of them was bullets. Who would have thought?
$9.95?
Yeah. It was 2004, guys. Police received a tip from a private towing car company that said that they towed a 2002 Nissan Maximum, which was his car, from the Flamingo Motel in Atlantic City on May 8th. Upon further investigation, police discovered security video of the car being moved. The footage was blurry, and they were unable to identify the person in the video. Melony later claims she moved the car as a quote-unquote prank, even though she had already applied for a restraining order at that point in time. So, because he slapped her.
Is there going to be a twist? She didn't do it, right?
I feel like that would ruin it, but no, she definitely did it. Yeah, she did it.
You can't have that many steps.
Kinsey's not an author. You thought she just made this up.
I'm just saying, like, to have that many steps in a row and to not think you're going to get caught, like, how can you how can you be so efficient in taking care of so many things and not go, it's never going to get traced back to me? What?
So during this time, so apparently he did slap her. That's why she got the restraining order. But I know this is a surprise. This is the twist right here. During this time, we also find out long-term affair. Ta-da!
Oh no, I never saw that coming.
One of these seems a little less extreme now, though.
Long-term affair with coworker Bradley Miller. Her EZ pass was also recorded at a toll booth in Delaware 2 days after the murder, and she was
big dumb.
She claimed this is the result of her going furniture shopping in Delaware since it has no sales tax. So
she suitcases.
And then before she was charged with the murder, because we'll get to that, but that took a really long time. Before she was charged with the murder, she then contacted the Easy Pass people and tried to have the 90-cent charge removed from her account history. And then days later, an unidentified man who was believed to be her stepfather also contacted them and asked to have the charge removed. So, the plastic bags that contained Bill's body parts and the bags that contained Bill's clothes, which she had then at that point given to a friend, were demonstrated by forensics to have been manufactured on the same assembly line within hours of one another. Melody did admit that they owned the same set of luggage the body was found in, which was a matching 3-piece set of Kenneth Cole suitcases.
Oh, they matched.
They match.
Okay.
Yeah, she didn't even go to the Goodwill or something and get different ones. Green fibers were found on one of the bullets lodged in Bill's chest, and these were identified as a polyester fill, which is commonly found in household furniture. And surprise, surprise, they owned a green couch. They owned a green couch.
Oh, she's bad at this.
And investigators theorized that the murderer used a pillow or couch cushion as a makeshift silencer to shoot him. And similarly, a medical-grade towel was found with Bill's body match. A medical-grade towel found with his body matched those stocked at the clinic where she worked. And a witness testified that Melody used the same towels to protect furniture when she moved house. Police believe she used a syringe and prescription from her work to obtain the drug used to incapacitate her husband.
This is like a bad game of Clue, where every single thing that she did is a very obvious clue.
Feels like she didn't try very hard to
Was she spoiled as a child?
I don't know. But, so how long do you think it took for them to arrest her with all this evidence?
2 days.
I'm really scared.
Like,
No. She said it took a long time to charge her.
Oh no. Hold on.
Wait, was she pretty?
8 years. 8 years.
I don't know what she looks like. I didn't look.
Really?
No, less than 8 years. 8 years. Shoot.
Or 4 years.
Less.
5 years. Oh, 2 years.
So, she was not arrested.
How about you just tell us? Here's a good idea.
She was not arrested for a year after she murdered him. They literally hid in the bushes outside her kids' preschool when she went to drop them off and walked up and were like, "You're arrested, ma'am." And then after that, trial did not start for another 3 years. So for over 3 years after she murdered this man, nothing happened.
And she was just like walking around.
She was literally like, "He's crazy. I'm innocent." She was eventually found guilty of first-degree murder. I know that's a surprise. April 23rd, 2007. They did seem like they felt like the evidence, made it look like she did it. She was also convicted of lesser charges of perjury, desecration of human remains, and possession of a weapon for unlawful purposes. However, she was acquitted on 2 counts of hindering apprehension as well as tampering with evidence, and she also got caught with the possession of Xanax without a prescription. She tried to appeal for a new trial on the basis of the story of basically saying jailhouse informant Christopher Thyme said that her husband was deeply in debt and may have been killed by Atlantic City mobsters because of his gambling addiction. So
The story just keeps going.
So she's like, "It wasn't me, it was the mobsters." And the prosecution established that this was entirely incredible and routinely and habitually fabricated stories, and
It's like every adjective you could use.
Right, that's like a direct quote. The direct quote, entirely incredible and routinely and habitually fabricated stories. And so they were like,
Holy crap.
That's like a record for how many adverbs you can use in a row.
So basically they were like, "Nah, bitch, it wasn't mobsters," and the request for a new trial was withdrawn. She was
That's
sentenced
when you know your story is that bad.
She was sentenced to life in prison and is serving her sentence at the Edna Mahan Correctional Facility for Women in Clinton, New Jersey, which is only one name for one city, one singular word.
Good.
She can't get out till she's 101. So I found this case because Lifetime has a movie called The Suitcase Killer, the Melony McGuire story. She appeared in court with her new attorney as late as September 25th, 2014, to try to get a hearing that could overturn her murder conviction on the grounds that her previous legal representation by Joe Tocopina was inadequate or ineffective. And again, they said, "Nah, bitch." And there's a book called To Have and to Kill. So that is the story of the Suitcase Killer.
And it relates to psychology. How?
So I thought...
There we go.
I was so scared, Kinsey.
So I thought we could spend some time talking about one of the many sub-stories that Melony brought to light here in her mini twist and turn murder story. So during the time point, I mentioned twice that she said that her husband was a gambler and he was addicted. She used this as a reason why she, number one, got a restraining order, and then number two, a divorce, and then why someone else murdered him, right? So I thought we could spend a little time today talking about the current diagnosis of gambling addiction. So did you know that gambling...
We're going to go with this.
Listen,
nope.
I was running out of options. I was going to talk about murder. We were going to talk about that. So gambling addiction.
Wait, did he actually have a gambling addiction?
Yes.
How do we know he had a gambling addiction?
I don't know. She said so.
I like a connection.
Listen, there has to be a connection. So gambling addiction, also known as pathological gambling, compulsive gambling, gambling disorder, and ludomania.
What?
Ludomania.
I've never heard that before.
Me neither. But that's what it's called. So gambling addiction was once considered
Ludo's like game.
She's doing the thing again.
Gambling addiction was once considered an impulse control disorder and has since been reclassified as an addictive disorder in the DSM-5. And people with gambling disorder are shown to have many similarities to those with substance addictions. So the term gambling addiction has also been used in the recovery movements currently. And pathological gambling has long been considered by the APA to be an impulse control as well as addictive disorder. So basically, currently our research is showing that there is a close relationship between pathological gambling and substance use disorders. And this exists mainly because the behaviors in problem gambling and most substance use disorders seek to activate the brain's reward mechanisms, while the behaviors characterizing OCD are prompted by overactive and misplaced signals from the brain's fear mechanisms. So that's kind of like comparing the two. There is a high comorbidity with alcohol problems in this population, and this is commonly seen because both of these groups of people are very impulsive. Problem gambling is any type of gambling behavior that disrupts your life. And they basically say if you're preoccupied with gambling, spending more and more time and more money on it, chasing losses, or gambling despite serious consequences in your life, you have a gambling problem. Gambling can stimulate the brain's reward system and lead to addiction. And if you have a problem, you may find ways to hide your behaviors and even turn to theft or fraud to support your addiction. Signs and symptoms of compulsive gambling or gambling disorder include being preoccupied with gambling, such as constantly planning gambling activities and how to get more gambling money, needing to gamble with increasing amounts of money to get the same thrill, trying to control, cut back, or stop gambling without success, feeling restless or irritable when you try to cut down on gambling, gambling to escape problems or relieve feelings of helplessness, guilt, anxiety, or depression, trying to get back lost money by gambling more, which is what they mean by chasing your losses, lying to family members or others to hide the extent of your gambling, risking or losing important relationships, a job, or school or work opportunities because of gambling, and asking others to bail you out of financial trouble because you gambled money away. Some people with a compulsive gambling disorder may have periods of remission, which is the length of time where they maybe gamble not at all or much less. But without treatment, this remission usually isn't permanent. And there are several risk factors that are associated with an increased addictive personality for this kind of thing. This can include mental health issues. So people who gamble compulsively often have substance misuse problems, personality disorders, depression, or anxiety. Compulsive gambling can also be associated with bipolar, OCD, or ADHD. Annie.
Shout out.
Compulsive gambling is more common in younger and middle-aged people, showing that age is a risk factor. Gambling during childhood or teenage...
Wait, you said it's more associated with younger?
Younger and middle age, yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Gambling during childhood or teenage years increases the risk of developing compulsive gambling, and compulsive gambling in older adult populations is also a problem. They wanted you to know.
Okay.
Sex is a risk factor. Compulsive gambling is more common in men than women.
Oh, I thought, okay, yeah.
What?
I was like, so if you have it, never mind.
Women who gamble typically start later in life and become addicted more quickly.
Who?
Women. Yeah. But gambling patterns among men and women have become increasingly similar over the years. If you have family members or friends who have a gambling problem, your chances are greater that you will too. Interestingly enough, medications used to treat Parkinson's disease and restless leg syndrome have a rare side effect that may result in compulsive behaviors, including gambling. These are called dopamine agonists.
I've never heard of that.
Me neither. Certain personality characteristics, such as being highly competitive, a workaholic, impulsive, restless, or easily bored, Annie, may increase your risk of compulsive gambling.
Shit, don't classify me. That's all of us.
Your compulsive gambling can have profound and long-lasting consequences for your life, such as relationship problems, financial problems, including bankruptcy, legal problems or imprisonment, poor work performance or job loss, poor general health, suicide attempts, or suicidal thoughts. There are educational programs that help target individuals and groups in this addiction. And I found this really interesting. There is a screening instrument that I've never heard of before that is very helpful for probable pathological gambling. It's called the South Oaks Gambling Screen, or the SOGS, the SOGS. It was developed by Lazur and Bloom in 1987 at South Oaks Hospital in New York City. It's been declining lately due to criticism, including that it overestimates false positives, which was in a study. I mean, that study was in 2002, so I'd be curious what the research now says. The DSM-5 did present as a checklist and did have the checklist items, and so that's a good alternative to SOGS. And it focuses on psychological motivations underpinning problem gambling, and was developed by the APA. And we already talked about those earlier, so you could use one or both of those. There's also something called the Problem Gambling Severity Index, which focuses on the harm associated with problem gambling. And this has 9 items from the longer CPGI, which is the Canadian Problem Gambling Inventory. Not to be confused with the VGS, which is the Victorian Gambling Screen, which is 15 items. So lots of options there. It seems like the VGS does have proven validity and reliability, which is important in any screening you want to use. Treatment includes step-based programs, motivational interviewing, peer support, self-help groups, medication, and then self-exclusion, which basically just means keeping yourself away from situations where you would be gambling. And we have a national helpline, which is 1-800-GAMBLER. So I bring all this to light to discuss what gambling addiction is, because basically Melony was trying to say, like, my husband's an addict, and that's why I never want to see him again, and I want this restraining order, and I want this divorce, right? Like, she's saying all these things. She's like, he's an addict. He's using all this money to gamble. Like, she was saying he has terrible mood swings and all of this stuff. And then later on was saying, well, maybe it was the mom that came to get him because he just owed so much money from this gambling. And I feel like that was just kind of her bad-mouthing what could have very likely been a very real and problem addiction, but also not a good enough reason to kill somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm guessing like there's nothing that shows in court records. I mean, because it really wouldn't matter if he did have a gambling addiction if you murder them. They should put that as a risk factor for gambling addiction.
Being murdered.
Right. I actually I worked with a couple people with gambling addiction. It's one that because a lot of addictions I can see like the allure to it, because like obviously with drugs, like there's I mean, obviously with any kind of addiction that feels good, but I think like I could understand the drug addiction, alcohol addiction, especially things that have like an addictive like chemical to them. Gambling addiction, just because like I have only gambled, I mean, if you count like scratch offs, that one I could probably understand a little bit more, but like a gambling addiction, I think it's so boring. I think gambling is boring.
Oh nope.
Not you?
I absolutely.
Let's go.
So I just read a book.
Wait. Let's go through the list again. Highly competitive, workaholic, impulsive, restless, easily bored.
Oh, okay. So I actually just read a book, and it wasn't that great. It was just like a short novel about a girl who like is born in a family of poker players, and like they're talking about gambling and stuff. And as I was reading it, I was like, this literally could not be me, because I'm telling you, I could get addicted to something like that so fast. Like maybe not poker, but I want to go play like competitive games like that. And especially if money's involved, I absolutely could get addicted very, very fast. Like absolutely. I can't even really, if I get addicted to the little like the plushie games, like where you can like the claw games.
Yes.
That's kind of gambling, right?
Right.
And they are rigged against you as the player. I will spend every cash amount that I have in my wallet or purse for the dumbest like Minecraft plushie that's in that thing. I love it.
Well, you still have time because women are at a greater risk of developing gambling addiction in later life.
I avoid situations like this because I know myself.
Literally, that's what it's... Okay, first and foremost, that's why I don't do drugs. Yes, because I feel exactly the same way. I have never will do any like cocaine, heroin, ecstasy, because I will not stop. I know that for a fact. That's it for me. But
yeah,
what did you say? That's fair.
I said that's good.
No, but, mine's not drugs. I could absolutely get addicted to gambling so fast.
But yeah, that's what it says. It says basically like women don't gamble for a long period of time, and then when old women basically get like very addicted to this.
They have nothing else to fucking do, and they have all of the money. Yeah. Every woman who gets addicted
it's because they have too much money and too much time.
They just have nothing else going on.
There's like the running joke of the old lady at the slot machines, right? Like, that's gonna be me. I know it. Don't touch my machine.
It's about to be hot. I mean, it basically lights up the same part of your brain as a drug, right? It's just like different in the same sense.
Yeah. Well, I even just like talking about it,
oh no.
Even just talking about it, I want to go play a game like that.
Well, and I think honestly, a lot of what we think of as gambling disorder is like your Las Vegas people, right? It's like your residents of Las Vegas who are going, or your people who are driving to, was it Biloxi or something, every weekend or consistently.
No,
the people who sell the slot machines at gas stations. Yeah, all online. But I think we have that idea. Yeah, so you have that. But I think we kind of the old picture of that is like you have loan sharks that are like going to break your kneecaps if you don't pay the money back.
Uh-huh.
But gambling, I mean, but you think about the people who are in the gas stations. That's often where they do sit. The people who buy 20 scratch-offs when they go inside, and they're spending hundreds of dollars a day. So it's not like the rich people who are betting thousands of dollars. It's the people who are just using like the rest of their check to get the scratch-offs or the lottos.
I would think scratch-offs are underestimated addictive areas.
Sure.
People be very serious about their scratch-offs.
Because they're normalized.
Well, they're so easy to get. And they're normal. Yeah. You can get them at Publix. Like, you just go to Publix and ask for scratch-offs.
Scratch-offs every year for Christmas. And man, I wait for that Jones. I'm like, $5, here I
come. What's the voice?
That's her gambling voice. No, yeah.
Sports people gamble on.
Well, and that's what I think, because around here, we don't have as much. I mean, I know it happens a lot at like your derbies, right?
I'm pretty sure gambling is illegal in Florida.
I'm sure. No, but like casinos might be, but I don't know about gambling.
You know what? Let me look.
Of all kinds.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Seems like something DeSantis would like.
It seems like no one who gambles is going to care.
Betting money or anything of value on a contest is illegal in Florida.
Do they know?
I'm just telling you.
Do the people know?
But we apparently do still have casinos, so make sense.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Gambling in free form is illegal.
No.
Gambling inside this taxable entity is illegal.
Uh-huh. So
no, go ahead. I tried last time.
I was just gonna say, like, the scratch-offs and stuff like that, that money goes towards
a good cause.
Yeah, quote unquote, a good cause.
It's fine.
It goes towards schools. It goes
Look
towards
at her normalizing
all that stuff. No, that's what people tell themselves.
That's what Kayla tells herself.
It did help pay for my couple years at Gordon. The Hope Scholarship.
Gambling?
Yeah, the lottery in Georgia helps pay for pre-Ks and Hope Scholarship.
Let's be honest. Like Hope is like significantly losing funding because people aren't gambling enough. So why are we getting this issue under control? The real question.
Everyone who doesn't know what the Hope Scholarship is, Hope Scholarship is it's just in Georgia, right?
There's one.
Yeah,
There's one in every.
funded.
There's one in every state. So basically,
Is it called the Hope Scholarship?
no. Here it's called Florida Prepaid or something.
Thanks, Kinsey.
Oh. Basically, if you get good grades, you get to go to school with
I got good grades.
With some money.
We know, bitch.
But by the time I got to it, it was only like you get this set amount and this set amount for books. In fact, I was a part of the committee that helped vote for the proposal of what we were going to cut from the Hope Scholarship for the next year of students.
Ask me
Annie,
how much
you
it
were
covered.
part of a committee?
Ask me how much it covered at Mercer. Ask me.
Can
$3,000.
you just tell me this time? Because we tried guessing last time and it didn't go well.
$3,000.
Mm.
3. Thank you so much, Georgia. I'm so glad. It only wants to do state schools that they like. Not the ones in the state, just the ones they like. But yes, in all states, to my knowledge, there is a state lottery that helps fund students going to college. So,
Yeah. Anyway, Annie, what were you going to say about gambling?
Well, I was going to say, because I think about how gambling is a little different from something like alcohol or drugs, like some of your substance uses, your substance use disorders. Because of with gambling, you're not harming the body. Yes, it can get expensive, but I think you can like justify it easier where you're waiting for that payoff. Where like with alcohol, I mean, it's pretty easy for us to note the ways that it's not good for the body. Drugs obviously are often illegal, and especially if you're using them in an addictive way, they're going to definitely be illegal or at least harmful. So I feel like gambling is got to be that one that's got to be harder for the person to admit that it's an issue. Like that would just kind of be like no research, like base assumption, just kind of looking at the differences of it. Like, I feel like that's a lot more difficult. And especially to say like it's out of control versus I'm just doing it trying to recoup my losses.
Mm-hmm. I could see what you're saying. Like, as far as like, how do you know when it's out of control? Because
yeah,
I know for a lot of times, like when people have to go to get admitted to the hospital because of substance abuse, they're like, that was when I knew I needed to stop.
It's clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
When do you stop with gambling? When you're like stealing from your grandma? Like what?
Grandma, she got too much time, too much money. So
Grandma's got her own addiction going on. So
it's very interesting though, right? Because money's a made up idea that we just created to make people feel bad about themselves all the time.
Rabbit hole.
Remember when we were just a trade society and things were simpler? Or before that, when we were hunter-gatherers and things were super simple?
I don't
To be clear,
I don't think that's
no.
true.
To be clear, I actually do think about that a lot.
I think about it so much. We have literally created so much pressure around money.
I can actually tell you why that's not a thing anymore because of the book that I read.
Oh my god, I kind of want to read that now.
It's so fascinating. It's because of the fact that the system got larger and that you couldn't equate what like 10 shoes were to like a boat, and so it was harder to say like what was of equal value. And so, you know, it was like larger systems, larger communities. It's a very fascinating chapter. Yeah.
Money is a stupid concept that we made up, and it makes everyone feel bad.
Has nothing to do with this, but yes.
So
I honestly, I don't know a whole lot about gambling. I've never treated anybody with gambling. I've never.
Well, Kinsey just told you a lot of information, so
I don't know like
information.
As far as like treatment goes, I really wouldn't even know the first steps into treating someone.
I literally just step-based programs, motivation.
I understand what you said. I heard what you said, but as a therapist, myself, I would not feel comfortable treating an addiction to gambling.
Realistically, the first thing that would be helpful for them is sending them to an AA program. That's what a lot of the research was saying. There's a lot of overlap there. And people that are in the AA community want addicts in general to get in recovery. They don't particularly care what your addiction is. I say AA versus...
But I hear a lot more pushback about AA nowadays.
Well, I say AA versus NA because NA is inherently a broken system where people are using it to continue addictions. So AA is the only feasible option we have. Step-based programs, stuff like that. But yeah, AA itself is not always the best fit, and it's very religious.
I would be curious to know, though, what was the husband's name? The suitcase guy?
You said it earlier. Was
Billy McGuire.
Bill McGuire.
Well, to be fair, I was thinking of the Adam Sandler movie. Yeah. So Bill McGuire in the movie on Lifetime. You watched it?
No, not yet. I didn't get to it.
Okay.
But I saw the headline and it caught my attention.
So just to be clear, Bill McGuire, who was accused by the murderer and the philanderer to have had a gambling addiction and the associated mob association.
Listen, you said this had to relate to psychology. This was next on my list of people I wanted to talk about. I did the best I could do. I don't know if it was a real addiction.
I mean, I feel like you threw a fishing rod into the lake and caught, like, trash. But there is something that you caught. So here we are, looking at it together.
Gambling. I wish I had more input. I wish I had more thoughts about gambling, but I really have not put much thought into that as an addiction.
I'm surprised we're here still.
I wish I had a better story to get us to gambling, but that's where we're at.
I loved the story. I really thought we were going to go more into
claustrophobia.
We were talking about that.
Honestly, I just want to know how she was so bad at hiding it.
I don't have more information.
Spent so much time hiding it.
I could have talked about the history of suitcases.
No.
Disembodiment.
Philandering. Again.
We were talking about that too.
Speaking of, this would be a nice plug for our episode that comes out this next week, actually. Betrayal.
Okay. We've talked about a lot of interesting topics here, so it does get a little difficult at times to make new connections.
No, I liked your gambling disorder story. Sorry, I liked your story, and I liked it when we talked about gambling disorder today.
Two separate things.
I liked the bit about the suitcases, but then I also really enjoyed the gambling part.
I'm never not surprised with your stories, Kinsey. Never not surprised.
Listen, until one of you takes over #1 spot on downloads, I don't want any flag, okay? Someone likes it.
She's gonna ride that high till the day she dies. I too I've never treated gambling disorder specifically. I've only worked with it as like another part of like a comorbid disorder. So there's something else that's going along with it because I also don't have a lot of treatment skills with gambling disorder.
Well, and like I said, it's very comorbid with other addictions. So
yeah,
and a lot of things that probably lead to being unfaithful in a relationship, right? Impulsivity, wanting constant stimulation. So,
well, I feel like it's one of those things that not for everybody, but that for a lot of people, it is things like undiagnosed trauma, undiagnosed ADHD, and gambling. Because I actually have kind of like a little working theory that oftentimes any kind of addiction is just a symptom of a larger disorder and is very rarely the issue. So I would think that gambling would go along with that for the most part, whether it's like a neurological disorder, a medical disorder, or some kind of mental health disorder. But that's for another day. Another story that's not connected.
I could see that, Annie.
Yeah. Well, because I had a friend recently who was talking about a parent, and they were talking about how they developed alcohol addiction later in life, and they couldn't believe it because they've never had any issue with addictions. And I was like, well, actually, they actually have with food addictions. And they hadn't really thought about how now that they don't have a food addiction, now that there is a alcohol addiction, I'm like, okay, but that tracks for me, like from the way that I look at things. And as a therapist working with people who struggle with addiction, sometimes it's actually very likely that if you don't handle kind of the underlying problem, that it's going to be addiction transfer.
Right. Yeah. So, Annie, I go next week.
I was about to say, I do not go next week.
Sorry. I go next week. And I don't know what I'm going to talk about yet, but it's going to be interesting and it's going to be connected.
I feel like you guys are really shitting on my gambling.
No, it's just funny.
No, it was the story, not the gambling.
It was connected. I said it twice.
Kayla, you go, and then we have a very special day coming up.
Yay! Yay! Listeners, our 1 year anniversary is coming up on Halloween. We are so excited. We have decided that we're going to do a special episode on Halloween for our 1 year anniversary. So be looking forward to that. We don't know what it's going to entail yet, but we
have zero details.
We have nothing to offer you besides us. So join us.
It'll be
on
just
Halloween,
as connected as my story today.
Just put your headphones in while you're walking the kids around the neighborhood for candy. Just listen to us.
Mm-hmm.
Just one headphone. You should probably have one ear out for,
I honestly feel like kids are very loud these days. I think you can do 2 headphones.
That works.
All right. So we have all the social medias that you guys can follow us on: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I don't know them all. I actually don't handle that part of the job. So all the rest of them that we mentioned last week, do the same thing this week. And Venmo, pay us money. You could probably find us on a lot of other money-based apps if you want to. We'll get on there too. But until you return next week, we hope you stay mental.
Oh, stay morbid. I got distracted by the money-based comment. Sorry.
We'll see you on Tuesday.
Mentally morbid.